1943. Lost for a while, now on streaming TV. Found after a crash in a Kansas town. Larry said, "Hey Max," and he stuck around.
Anyway, Star Wars. 1977 theatrical release of Star Wars. And by theatrical release, I mean back then, they edited and put together the movies by hand. You know, by hand. But even the prints that they sent out to the movie theaters, they would assemble those by hand. So, you know, somebody would have to put them together. And so even though there was the 1977 theatrical release, there were slight different variations in the movie theater, in the movie, depending on where you saw it, how the person put it together. I saw a version that had a detail in it that I've never seen again. It was an error in putting it together. There's one scene of the sand crawler early on in the movie where it's before it's showing up at the Luke Skywalker's uncle and aunt's farm. It's cresting a hill. Now it's a small model. They didn't build a giant full-size sand crawler. It's a small model, and it's crawling over a hill. The version I've seen on DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff shows it coming down the side of the hill. I saw a cut of the movie where the model crested the hill and then, you know, went up, crested that, and then boom, you know, flopped over the top and started going down the side towards us. But that was in the movie theater, and I've never seen that since. That was probably an error when they were putting it together. They got too much footage of that sandcrawler in there. On the DVD and the current release, you only see it coming down that sandy hill. You don't see it cresting it and coming over. But Star Wars. What drove George Lucas to make Star Wars? He got the story for the Luke Skywalker's story arc in there. I believe he got it from a book, Farmer in the Sky, and I think he read Farmer in the Sky, and he didn't like the ideas of what it put forward of a teenager going off to middle of nowhere to be on a farm, and he decided to flip the script. And this book wasn't an obscure book. This was back in the 50s. This was a big series of young adult science fiction written by Heinlein. You know, almost as big as like Harry Potter is. I mean, the Heinlein stories, they made movies out of them. They converted them to movies, and many people read them. But the script, we'll go through the script, go through Luke's story, but first we'll go through Bill's. And you see, he flipped the script. He reversed the plot and made the actions also reversed. Bill's story, A Farmer in the Sky, he starts out with Earth is overcrowded, too many people. He gets on a passenger ship, huge passenger ship, 6,000 passengers, for a long trip, a 60-day trip or so, out to a farm in the middle of nowhere. But it's a 60-day trip. Along the way, they run into some meteorites, asteroids or whatever. A small meteorite punches a hole in the ship, and they have to repair it. Later on in the story, they're thinking they have to leave the farm, but two people that are very close to Bill die. Two people die, and now there's no reason for him to leave the farm. But shortly thereafter, his male guardian, his father, George, tells Bill he's got to go back. He's got to go back to Earth. He's got to go to college. He's got to go back to school, get back to college on Earth, get a degree. And Bill doesn't really want to, and he goes outside and watches the sunrise, and then decides he's staying on the farm. And that progresses over. Now we're just going to reverse that. So the story starts, Star Wars starts with Luke at this end, where he's pleading with Uncle Owen to let him leave the farm and attend academy. Uncle Owen refuses. Luke goes outside and watches the sunset. Not the sunrise, he watches the sunset. Then Luke finds that his 2 family members have been killed, and now there's no reason for him to stay on the farm. He joins Obi-Wan, where they find a small cargo ship and book passage. And the passage is just for Obi-Wan and Luke and 2 droids, and there's 2 crew members. So it's a small ship with 6 people total on it. And then where they arrive, at the planet they were going to, the planet's gone and everyone's dead on Alderaan. So it's a reverse. Bill's traveling, and Farmer in the Skies, Bill's traveling with 6,000 passengers. Meteorite punches a hole in the ship. Tiny meteorite punches a hole in the ship, and they need to repair it. Luke, small ship, not too many people. Big meteors come by, bounce off the ship, no damage. Farmer in the Sky, 2 people die. Now there's no reason to leave. Star Wars, 2 people die. Now there's no reason to stay. And in Farmer in the Sky, his dad is his male guardian is telling him, telling him to go get a degree, to leave the farm and go get a degree, but he doesn't want to. But in Star Wars, Luke really wants to leave the farm and go get a degree, but his male guardian won't let him. And it's just a complete mirror reverse of the story in reverse order. It reverses the order and reverses the plot points, and it just mirrors Farmer in the Sky. And it just too many things matching up to make it. I don't feel that's a coincidence. I think that was a choice by George Lucas. He didn't like the story and he reversed everything. And then to make certain, just to make certain that it couldn't be missed, certainly by Heinlein, couldn't be missed. He put into the crawl when it was released in 1981, Episode 4, A New Hope. And in Farmer in the Sky, in a critical point near the end, just before here is where he's arguing with his dad about his dad is telling him he needs to go to a degree, but go to get a degree at a university. But just before that is when these 2 passages show up, and these 2 passages are his dad saying, "Yep, a new colony is always a new hope." And then Bill thinks about that and says he likes the way you're putting that. A new hope. He likes it. A new hope. And they just repeat that, new hope. And it's not random. But you don't see. Have not seen that online anywhere. And they've had plenty of time to discover this and put this up. And I just wanted to put that out. Keep on talking about Kurosawa and Hero of a Thousand Faces, the Campbell book, and George Lucas talks about all the mythology and stuff he studied, and how the great storytelling and that. Really looks like he just mirrored Farmer in the Sky. At least the character Bill in Farmer in the Sky, he mirrored that story arc to get a good portion of Luke's story arc. Yeah. Um, yeah. That's Star Wars. Little irritation to me that George Lucas is trying to kill the original theatrical release of Star Wars and doesn't want to release it, trying to kill it, trying to replace it with his new and improved version, which I'm not a fan of. I don't think it looks better. I think each subsequent tweak he makes to it seems to I feel it gets worse. I just wanted to get that Star Wars thing out there since I had given a little bit of info of how it was connected earlier. Just wanted to go over that the whole Luke story arc was just mirrored a mirrored version of Bill's story arc from Farmer in the Sky. Star Wars. It was the right movie for its time. George Lucas. I'm not really impressed by his dialogue writing ability. I don't think the dialogue in his movies is anything exceptional, but he got some great images. He assembled a team that got some great images down there. It was quite a thing in the 70s. It really changed the landscape of movies. Before that, science fiction, not counting 2001: A Space Odyssey, which was a little dramatic and esoteric, a little beyond entertainment for most people. It was an experience, but not quite entertaining. Whereas Star Wars was an entertaining adventure, summer type movie. He got some great images down on there, and he managed to hire some really good actors that really fit the parts there, with Alec Guinness and Harrison Ford, and Mark Hamill fit the role well for Luke, and Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. He got some good actors for them too, and with Peter Cushing and the Death Star person in charge there. Good actors, good visuals. He put it together from bits and pieces of other movies he liked, and from other stories he liked, and in this case from Farmer in the Sky, from stories he didn't like, and he put it together to try to push his point of view, or his opinion, like as Obi-Wan says, from a certain point of view. The theatrical release in '77, that was a defining moment in the '70s. It changed the '70s from before Star Wars to after Star Wars. Quite the event. Okay, well, I got at that now. It's not just thinking it was just a small reference to A New Hope there in the Farmer in the Sky. It was a story arc, major points in the story arc that were mirrored and copied and inverted to make an anti-story for Luke. And